Hello friends, in our previous video we have discussed about the real-time data flow, how real-time data flow will be configured and how it will be keep on running, and whenever any we insert the records into the data flow, the topic, how the case will be created we have seen. Okay, so this is the one. Let me stop the data flow. This is the data flow. How can we see the data flows? Go to configure, on the configure decisions data flows. When you go to the real time, see here, this is our data flow we created for real time, and it is still running. So we can go stop here, or I can click on this id. Whenever we run any data flow, one id will be created. We can click on that id, it will be opened like this, and we can check the details like distribution details and run details and the component statistics. And here we can click on stop. So this data flow will be stopped. Okay, now refresh. See, this is a stop now. Now let's understand the batch data flow, how we can run the data flow in batch. That means whenever we have some records at the in our application, like for suppose we have one data table which contains the list of input records, and we want to, and this contains like a hundreds of records, like for suppose if we have like 50,000 records in this one, we want to create cases for these 50,000 records in our application, like a cases here. How can we handle that one? We can use the data flow. Data flow is mainly for handling huge volume of records, right? For processing of the records. Okay, first let me create one data set associated to this data type. Okay, so yeah, first the plan is, I'll show you. The plan is, I will show you one Monte Carlo like data set. How dataset can Monte Carlo can insert thousands of records. Okay, first we will see that part, and once we have the thousands of records in our data table, contain 100k for suppose 50k for suppose 50k records are there inside our data table, then how can batch or background processing data flow can process them, and how quickly we will see. This is the flow that we are going to do in this video. Let's see here. I'm opening this in App Explorer. I'm going to create one data set associated to this data table. Data set is very powerful. We will see like how powerful it is. Create data set here. Give the name like a enroll request data set. Okay, enroll request data table data set. Here, these are the different options. We can even do the file, like insert the files, read the files. Okay, I was talking about the Monte Carlo, this one only. We have the stream, social, and yeah, this database table. So first of all, database table, leave request, and for this one, I'm going to create this one. So it is just like a table only, but it is a dataset rule which is linked to this table, and this is the key. When we open that class, you can see that it has the PYGUID as a key, and it also has the key as PYGUID. Okay, save it. Okay, first part we have done enroll request DS. Okay, which can which is linked to this data table. Okay, database table. Now let me close this one. Let's close, and let me open that one, and I would like to show you. For suppose if I click here and run and browse operation, if I do the browse operation, click run, you can see there are already two records, and you can see those two records here. So dataset is linked to that one. Now using Monte Carlo dataset, how can we insert like dummy data, some how can we do that? We will see. Now I'm going to do the same thing here also. I will create one. First of all, I will create one data flow. Okay. So create one data flow to insert the records. Data flow is for test data flow to load test data. Okay. I'm giving the same thing like this. Create and open. First step. First step should be the source configuration, which gives the data. For that, test dir for test data. Okay, I'm going to open this data set, and we are creating here. I'm going to give the Monte Carlo. So create and open. English. How many? What is the size? We need the size of, for suppose, 50,000 records. 50, 1, 2, 3. 50,000 records, and add the fields. Fields are like first name and last name and phone. Okay, here it's like here we give like Monte Carlo or some other values we can give here, but I'd like to take from Monte Carlo. Monte Carlo first name, if I give first name, name dot first name, last name, name dot last name, phone, phone number dot phone number, I give like this and save it. When we execute this data set, it is going to fetch 50,000 dummy data from Pega. Okay, now submit. So we got the source. We got the 50,000 records from here. What is our next step destination? Destination is going to be the data set of our data table. What is the data table? Enroll request DS. This is the one. And what are the save options that we have? Only insert new records, insert new and override existing records. Okay, we can select based on ours. I can take this one like insert new records, save it. See, data flow is ready. This data flow is to load the some test data to our table. This table has two records now. Let's refresh. And I need to execute this data flow to load the 50K records. How to run the data flow? Data flow can be run from an activity also. Okay, so I'll go and create one test activity. For suppose we have this activity, right? I'm going to comment these two steps. Now let's run the, put one temporary page like tempo data flow page, something like that. And the class, what is the class of this one? This is the class. And which class we created this data flow? Data flow is on the data enroll request. So I'm going to give the class here, same class. If you don't take this this space, we can't run that one, right? That will not be visible for us here. So here data flow execute is the method using which we can execute the data flow. Now the data flow name, see, this is coming because we gave the step page as this one, which is linked to this class. Okay, this class page we gave here, that is the reason we are getting the data flow name. Now what is the operation? This is get process, get progress, start, stop. We have three options here. Start will start this one. Once it is started, we can wait and get the progress in the middle until it is completed. Okay, this is for getting the progress of this data flow. And stop, if you want to, if it is running more than the expected time, then we can use this method to, this operation to stop the data flow also. For our purpose, we are using the start. Run id, this is the run id. So here run id, we have to take a new field like why? Because whenever this data flow is running, it gets one id. Where to store that id? In this field. Okay. So I will take one field like not the first name, last name like that. I'll take some other field which contains like py note. I'll take the py note as. So py note contains the run ID. And where to run this data flow? We have the background processing batch, and so I'd like to use the background processing because it's a save it. Now I'm going to run it, and let's see 50,000 records are going to insert into this one. So start. For that, I'm going to put a tracer. Click run. Okay, there's an there is some issue. What is the issue? It is saying py note is not valid. Okay, let me create one property here. Let's create one ID. Uh, Run ID. Okay, I'm going to change it to identifier, or we can keep it text also. Text also is fine. Let me give the run ID. Right. Save it. Now click on run. Put the tracer and run it. There is some issue. The issue is it is saying invalid reference exception. The reference run ID is not valid. Enroll case push to Kafka action. Okay. So it's getting some error. Run ID, run options as a run option space, run ID. Or let me do one thing. When we get such issues, we need to try different options like suppose test to load. I'm going to create one activity in the data class, and I'm going to data flow execute and the data flow name start run ID and save it. Now let me go back to the decisions, data flows, and batch processing data flows. If you see here, we have one batch processing data flow also, which was running on the background processing node. So it should work. Background processing should work for us. Let me run it now. Let me close the tracer. Okay, this time it is successful. Successful means it just triggered the data flow. Now when we come here and when I refresh this one, we'll be able to see the one more data flow running here 64001 with this ID. And in the tracer also we can check here what is the on the run ID field should contain this ID. Okay, df 64001. Let me refresh. Oh, okay. We got it like 351 failures. Okay, all 351 records it tries to insert, but it failed. Because of that, it stopped. Okay, what is the reason? It might be failed. Let me open this one and failure records. When we click on them, we can get the list of records and we can see the reasons also. It is saying is input. Yeah, this is the insert query and view input record. And the input record, we've only got these three fields only, not the PYGU ID. So without PYGU ID, it cannot insert, right? Because PYGU ID is the key for this one. Okay, let me put one unique numbers. So let me open the Monte Carlo here and add field dot pygu id. Yes, this one, and here id, some id or some number. We can take some number also. If you see here, number or id, valid, invalid, current id, something like that. So I'll go with the number, some number, integer, number digit integer. I'll take 10 digits and save it. So this time we are passing the PYGUID also. Earlier we did not pass the PYGUID, so it failed here executing. And now let me run again. Run. It is successfully started. Let me come here. Refresh, refresh, refresh. 464002 is the ID of the batch this time. See, if you see 50,000 records inserted in very how much time it take? You can see here 4720 microseconds. It's very quick. Total duration 10 seconds. Even in 10 seconds, maybe 9 seconds and more than 9 seconds it takes for starting the data flow itself. But 50,000 records processing completed very in very short time. Now let's go back to the data flow, refresh, and we should be able to see the 50,000 records here. See, we got the lot of records. So this is the 50,000 records here. Now first part is done. Okay, we using one data flow, one time data flow, using the batch data flow, we are able to insert some records into the data table. Now we need to pass this data flow, data table records as a input to the data flow to create the 50,000 cases. We will see how much time it takes to process them. Now the batch processing, one batch processing is done. Now the second part is to create one more data flow to create the records batch mode. Let me do that. Now for that one, we need to create one more data flow, create data model, data flow. This data flow name is enroll case creation batch. Okay, using, so we take the input from the enrollment data table, create the cases for them, for all of those records. Create and open. Now the source for this one is DataSet. DataSet is going to be the enroll request DS. Okay, this dataset is linked to the this table. So when we give this one, it takes the all records from our data table, save. And the second one, it is going to be, we need to call activity here. Do we get activity here? See, this is the table, this is the class of data dash enroll request. So we cannot call our activity. We have one activity to create the cases. We have created one sample activity to create the cases, right? Let me open, show you the activity. Technical activity, see, batch, create enroll case batch. So I want to change the class context to this one, and then I want to call this activity. So we will do some more advanced here in the data flow. Let me see here, we have the compose. Let me save it. Compose, convert, data transform, filter, and all are there, right? First we will see compose. So compose is something, delete. So compose is not the option to convert. Let me convert. So before going convert, I'll put the filter. So this filter is something, whatever the records that we get, in that records, we can put one when condition. If first name equal to this one, just process. So some kind of conditions we can put, those conditions can be filtered. So this is not our option, just delete that one. Okay, and merge text analyzer filter, these all are like we will see later. For now, convert, we would like to go for the convert option. Let's open the convert here, double click into the pages of class. So this request will be convert to this request and auto copy properties with identical names. I have given this one because in this class and this class I have created the properties same properties. Okay, first name, last name, phone. So I'm giving this one. If you don't have same, then we can add mapping. Here first name is map to here first name. Okay, last name is map to last name. So in this way we can do the mapping also. Okay, done, submit. So we are converting data class to the work class, submit, and the record will come here. Here we can run the activity. So here activity is create enroll case batch. It is taking this class. Okay, submit, save it. We are ready with the data flow to read the records from the data table, 50,000 records, 50,000 plus 2 records, convert them to work class and call this activity to create the cases in our application. First of all, how many cases do we have in our application for the enroll? We will see. This is the enroll. We have the 9 cases present here. Now let me close this one and let's close test load also. Yeah, I would like to keep this one. Let's close. Now let me run the data flow and see. Click on run. Now we have already click on run, right? If we click on run, what happens? We can click on run and we can schedule the data flow, like we can run the data flow in real time, right? But we don't want to do that one. This is a batch mode. So we would like to run this one in batch mode, maybe at midnight, whatever the request we get and received and insert in our data table. We would like to run this one and process all the records at the night time. That is the use case here, real time use case. So how can we run? We can create a job scheduler, and the job scheduler will run at 12 o'clock midnight, and job scheduler activity, it can start the data flow. Okay, so suppose batch data flow job activity, job scheduler activity. Okay, I'd like to take this activity, and this activity is going to just simply data flow execute, and enroll case create batch something data flow, and it is going to start it. And we can keep the run ID as here and save it. We created one job scheduler activity. We can create the job scheduler also, and we can schedule it for midnight. And this job scheduler will execute this data flow, which will start this. So now instead of job scheduler, I am manually running this activity. Okay, run it. Started successfully. Let's go and check. For this one, decisions, data flows, batch processing. See, enroll case create batch. It is running. Okay, refresh. 279 records processed. Okay, 0 failures. 427. Okay, like that. Let's see. Remaining time. If you see here, remaining time, it is going to take the 20 minutes to process the 50 to create the 50,000 record cases. Normally using service rest activity or using service rest or maybe file processing, it takes a lot of time to create to create 50,000 records. To process the 50,000 records, it takes a lot of time. Okay, we have other options like we have file listener, and we can provide one service to create the cases, or we can create the job scheduler. We can insert the record into data table. We can create job scheduler to create the cases. Okay, so there are many ways to do it. This is one of the way, and it is the most better way to handle the high volume. Okay, now let's go back and here and refresh. See, already 58 pages of cases are already created. Let me open one case. See, we got the flow data also, and it is with the leverage managers. We can begin this case and process this case. Okay, so this is all, friends. Like I'd like to show you like how efficient this one. How can we run the data flow background like batch mode, and how can we run the data flow real time? See, what is the source of this data flow? The source is data type, right? And for this data flow, we cannot run real time because it's not stream. Okay, this can be run in the batch mode only. And when we configure it with the Kafka, it can run real time because Kafka topic in that processing is real time, right? Yeah. And let me come here. So mainly we use the batch processing and real time processing only. Here, one of our friend asked the question that source application from so different source applications we are getting the millions of cases. How can we handle that 100K volume of the cases creation on our application? He asked me 100K records. How can we handle in our application? Here, if you see this one, this created 5,000 cases within 3 minutes. Okay, that means 30 minutes it takes it process the 50 in 30 minutes 50,000 records cases will be created. Okay, and one more best way if you want to handle more efficiently, here in the data flow we have the data flow here. Here we can create one simple activity to push these records to queue process. It just do very more efficiently. We will check that one also. Okay, like queue processor can create the cases, and this job scheduler will push the records into the queue process. And queue processor, we know, right? They are very more powerful. So that is how, if you want to more optimize that one, we can use that way. Okay. Yeah. If you want to handle that one also, I can do. Please comment like if you want me to use one activity here to push the records to the queue processor and let the queue processor handle that much volume, and we can see how much difference it can make. Maybe here it is taking 30 minutes, right? That way it will take maybe 12 to 15 minutes only. Yeah, that way we can create 50,000 cases within 10 to 15 minutes, not 30 minutes. Okay, that way. Yep, I don't want to create 50 cases now. I'm going to stop this one because if you see here in my 161 pages of cases already created, so I'm going to stop this one. That is all, friends. Please let me know if you have any other doubts or if you want me to do some other things using this one. Thank you.